Alrighty, and we're live here on a Monday night following Monday Night Raw, a huge monumental Monday Night Raw. It was their debut on Netflix. Thank you guys for joining me here on a special Monday stream. Just making sure our audio is all good to go because we have a special guest. We have SanFran5, the man of the hour, the man with the power, the man that can be a little bit too sweet to be sour. What's going on, my man?
What's up, man? How's it going, guys? This feels weird.
Yeah, you may not be able to see him, but we have him here on Discord, joining us on the live stream here for the first time, a guest on the live reaction following Monday Night Raw. A huge episode of Monday Night Raw, the debut of Netflix. I'm gonna leave it up to you. What were your initial thoughts here?
Oh my god. Um, I'm just in awe. I'm like lost for words. Like so much has happened, and like honestly, in my opinion, it felt like a PLE. The whole thing, like, yeah, a little bit overwhelming. A little bit overwhelming, but in a good way.
Yeah. No, so like we're saying, it's a recap show here for Monday Night Raw following Netflix. For the first time ever, we have a guest here on the live stream. Sorry for the delay there. We were working out the kinks and working out the little details there. But we're here. We're live. Monday night, January 6th, following a monumental episode of Monday Night Raw. We just saw the main event, right? It was CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. A decade in the making. I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel like the match lived up to the hype. A lot of drama, a lot of action. We even got a little bit of color there, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. It's actually kind of funny because heading into the match, I told you, I'm like, hey, what are the odds of there being color? And you said, oh, pretty low. But yeah, there's color, just a little bit, but you can tell.
Yeah, no, and I think it was a welcome sight. We always talk about how if they're going to be including color, if they're going to be including blood, it has to be for a reason. And I don't feel like this time was intentional. I feel like this was actually the hard way. I know Punk and Rollins had a heated feud over the course of the last decade. So leading into this matchup, if you would have told me that there would have been some blood there, I wouldn't have been surprised. But given that it was a normal stipulation there, I wasn't 100% sure. But none that he'd have a little bit of color there. If you're just joining us here
Yeah,
on the,
man.
sorry to cut you off there.
Sorry.
If you're just
Very
joining us
good.
here in the live stream, we're doing a post show reaction to Monday Night Raw. It's the Raw debut on Netflix. I'm here, joined on the live stream with SanFran5. You might not be able to see him, but you certainly can hear him. What was your biggest takeaway from this episode of Monday Night Raw?
So, okay, I'm gonna keep it real with you, man. Is it me or did I felt like there was more matches than segments? Okay, I feel like they focused more on the matches itself, and I feel like they focused more on quality over quantity, if that makes sense.
No, I
Because,
go ahead.
like, no, I'm sorry. It felt like I said, a PLE, but it's just an episode of Raw if you think about it.
No, I think I would definitely have to agree with you because with the debut on Netflix, they wanted to attract a wider audience. I mean, the WWE we know is mainstream. We know it's a global phenomenon. It has so many viewers already tuned in on SmackDown, Raw, NXT. But because Netflix has millions upon millions of subscribers already, they wanted to get in their best, content. They're talking about the big stars: Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. Obviously, Rhea Ripley, one of the biggest women stars in the history of the WWE. And I mean, talk about Travis Scott. A bunch of celebrities there were in attendance. So for me, it makes perfect sense that they were going to treat it as such a big show.
Yeah, I mean, you do got a good point. I just want to throw it out there, guys. Being on here is probably like it's really cool for me. It's been a while since I've been on like on YouTube live streaming, so it's almost like a restart for me. But I'm just glad to be on here because it opens the door for what we have in store for you guys for this year. Um, yeah, I can't thank you enough for letting me be on your show, dude. I really appreciate you, man.
Yeah, no, of course, it's a pleasure, and we have like I said, a lot of fun things in store for 2025. 2024 was such a huge year. You know, we had the podcast, we had the YouTube channel in full effect, and being able to build from the ground up. We made the pivot to pro wrestling, and it proved to have quite the audience and quite the following. So 2024 was really an opportunity to rebuild and to really regain the level of momentum that we were looking for. So 2025, we're just going to be keep building off of that momentum, continuing to put out quality content the people of the J area want to see, focusing on pro wrestling. But now we had a live stream last night, Sunday's stream. If you were there joining us as we played WWE 2K24, big thanks to you, and also big thanks to the chat who were as active as they had been in quite some time. If you haven't seen it, make sure you tune in the archives. You can find that. We had a couple of great matches where we simulated the matches that took place here on Raw today. And because of the high demand, let us know in the chat, let us know in the comment section if that's something you want more of. Because, for example, myself and SanFran5, my brother Jared here, we're thinking about bringing more content like that during the live streams. Is there anything that you want to see specifically in terms of the live streams here, brother?
Uh, Honestly, I'm the type of guy to where I like to just wing it because like I, I don't know, man. I love anything that's just strictly wrestling related. Like even if it's just like talk about like old stuff like ECW for example, like the ECW games, specifically ECW Evolution, I think that's what it's called, a Revolution. I've been thinking about playing that game because they have like great talent, a great roster, and like I just love wrestling as a whole, not just WWE, but just as a whole, dude.
I certainly think it would be an awesome opportunity to branch out for like the broader audience of pro wrestling fans. If you look at today's generation, and I'm speaking as if I'm like an older guy, but the video games I feel like are a perfect, way in for new wrestling fans, and for those in the chat and the members of the J area who aren't accustomed to pro wrestling, I would like to see that evolution and being able to see throughout the course of the years, not only how the business has grown and how the WWE and certainly other companies as well, how they've evolved, but also in the video game industry. I feel like video games are very much a way to keep your finger on the pulse and demonstrate a level of, like I said, evolution throughout the course of the culture, pretty much. So I certainly think it'd be cool to incorporate that. Sylvia, what's going on? Welcome to the chat. Appreciate you stopping by here on the live stream. Sylvia says, "Welcome, San Fran. Great to finally hear your voice."
Thanks, Sylvia. It's great to be on here as well. I knew one of these days I was gonna make an appearance on the live stream, and I thought, well, today's the first episode of Raw on Netflix. I thought, why not just make a little bit of a cameo, actually? Because believe it or not, it's actually not the first time I've been on the channel.
Yeah, no, in the early incarnations of the channel, we were very much into sports and entertainment, and it's not the first time that we've had a collaboration here on YouTube. We took a little bit of a hiatus there, but being that, as I said, we took the pivot to pro wrestling. Jared and I grew up as huge fans of pro wrestling, and it's something we always wanted. We always wanted to plan on having this kind of collab during a live stream. So it's very ironic that you guys had brought it up during last night's live stream because we were already in the workings for it. Obviously, we didn't want to jump the gun and do something that was out of the norm. We wanted to ease it in. So it's not foreign at all to have him here, but it's still a welcome addition. It allows me the opportunity to kind of have someone to bounce off of, and it's also a great introduction to the chat.
Yeah, no, 100%, dude. So, okay, I do have one question though about this episode of Raw. What was your highlight of the show?
So from a fan standpoint, I mean, you really could go either way. I mean, I thought the opener between Roman Reigns versus Solo was fantastic. It, for me personally, it had a slow build, but once we got to the climax and we saw the introduction of Jimmy, Sammy, Jacob Fatu, and Tamatanga, that was great from like a just from a pro wrestling aspect, the chaos that ensues during a matchup. But for me personally, my highlight was seeing Punk and Rollins. I mean, those are two guys who are some of my all-time favorites. Love CM Punk. if you're familiar with the channel and the content that we produce here, you know that CM Punk is one of my all-time favorites. He falls number two, only to Shawn Michaels, and Seth Rollins obviously had filled in that void while CM Punk was gone for a decade. So for me, my favorite moment of this show certainly was the main event. I want to hear from you though. What was your highlight? What's something you took away from this episode of Raw on Netflix?
So there's so many highlights for me, but one that probably sticked out was probably Jey Uso. The whole Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre match. I thought it was a pretty cool bout. Um, I'm just a huge fan of Jey Uso. His energy, his presence, the way how he interacts with the crowd. Matter of fact, Travis Scott was there, so that was pretty cool to see.
I think it was huge to have a guy like Jey Uso have the entrance that he did. I mean, he brings the energy, like Travis Scott would say, it's lit because when Jey Uso comes out, the crowd becomes electric. You see them doing the yeet chant. You see the crowd get into it. Between his entrance, between his connection with the crowd, certainly lends itself to Netflix because if I'm the WWE, you want to be able to attract as many viewers, you want to be able to attract as many new fans to the product. So we see a guy like a Jey Uso and the energy that he brings. I don't know about you, but if I'm on the outside, that energy that he brings, man, it's infectious. It's certainly infectious, and I'm super happy. What about that surprise win, huh? He kind of pulled it out with a little bit of a small package there to win against Drew McIntyre. What did you think about that surprise win?
Well, to me, I thought that was textbook wrestling. That's a pretty high IQ move to do. Let alone not only it threw off McIntyre, but it threw me off as well. Like I wasn't expecting Jay to pull it off and make it look easy. I thought he had to put a little bit of, I wouldn't say effort, but more so tire out um, Drew. But he just caught him off guard.
And I feel like towards the end there, he was certainly playing possum. Jey Uso was getting he was getting his work done by Drew McIntyre, and to the point where Drew McIntyre signaled for the Claymore, was trying to get that pinfall victory over him, but Jey Uso collapses, and upon Drew McIntyre trying to regain his composure and hit that Claymore, that's when Jey Uso would come out and get the big victory. And speaking of big victories, how about the new Women's World Champion, Rhea Ripley, who is a big favorite here on the channel? Out of all the content that I've produced here, the stuff with Rhea Ripley certainly gets a reception, and it's super cool to see her back on top, winning the title that she never lost. What do you think is next for Rhea Ripley? Who do you think could be a potential opponent here for the new Women's World Champion?
Okay, so this might be a hot take. Okay, uh, with me growing up with wrestling, it's always where whenever a huge star returns, the first thing they do, go after the title. A great example would be John Cena. And no disrespect to John Cena, I love Cena, but I wouldn't be surprised if Charlotte Flair comes back or Becky Lynch, one of those two. So I just want your opinion on the two returning.
So if you ask me, I think certainly these two women are decorated. I feel like Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, um, two of the best that this generation has. Two members of the Four Horsewomen that came out of NXT during the early years of NXT. And I would not be surprised if they both made an appearance at the Royal Rumble. If you ask me, certainly one of them, but I think both of them could make a huge return at the Rumble. If you ask me, if I was a betting man, which I am, I'm thinking we're having Becky Lynch more likely going to be facing off against Rhea Ripley, kind of a rematch from their WrestleMania 40 encounter last year. If I had to put money though, I think Charlotte goes after Tiffany. I think Charlotte's going to be on the SmackDown brand, have an opportunity against there. The athleticism between the two, I think, would be fantastic for WrestleMania. My only fear would be if Charlotte comes in, does she take away the title from Tiffany Stratton? She just won the championship. I would like to see her have a lengthy run there, but I certainly think it's the possibility that we're going to see Charlotte versus Tiffany Stratton fairly soon. What'd you make of Tiffany Stratton's cash in there on SmackDown to become the new WWE Women's Champion?
Oh, I was really happy for her. I mean, it's Tiffy time. So with Tiffany Stratton, she is a unique wrestler because I believe she is probably more and more likely gonna be the future of the company. Like, I'm just in awe at the fact that she made it look easy for pinning Nia Jax. Let alone she pretty much cashed in and like caught her off guard. For a second, I thought she wasn't even going to cash in, but for her to pull off the victory, really happy for her.
And it's something they had been teasing for quite some time. I mean, we had a lot of interactions between Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax, kind of hinting that sense of dissension and tension between the two. It was only a matter of time between, the boiling point had been reached, and Tiffany Stratton was going to cash in on Nia Jax. I'm happy, though, that it happened on the first episode of SmackDown in 2025. We get a fresh start. And just to think about it, man, we got a new women's champion on SmackDown, a new women's champion on Raw. That begs the question, are we going to have a new women's champion on NXT? Because we're going to see Roxanne Perez defend the NXT championship, the very same championship that she's held since April. She's going to be taking on Julia, the newly acquired talent by Japan. Julia will be challenging Roxanne Perez. Do you think we're going to get the trifecta? Do we think we're going to get the hat trick and have a third new women's champion here?
Okay, man. You want my take? I believe Roxanne Perez is going to win, but she's going to win dirty. And I believe this match is going to be a little bit of a feud, I would say. And I feel like there is going to be a rematch.
You think there's going to be another one?
Yep.
I could see that happening. My only concern, I don't see Julia losing this type of a caliber matchup. However, Stephanie Vaquer and Zarya, both big acquisitions as well for the NXT brand, and they haven't had a shot against Roxanne Perez for that title. And I feel like that's something that we can certainly milk out over time. I wouldn't be surprised if through some sort of interference or chicanery that Roxanne Perez ends up defeating Julia again. But part of me wants to say Roxanne wins because there's still more meat on the bone. There's still some more money to be made with her against the likes of Zarya and Stephanie Vaquer. The women's division certainly is on fire, though, for NXT, not only for them, but for also WWE, the main roster. And one star in particular who made quite the impact was Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill, who was attacked, fairly recently on SmackDown, hasn't been seen. Her spot as the tag team champion has been removed, and Naomi stepped up and is now Bianca Belair's tag team partner. Do you have any indication or any predictions as to who may have done it? Who attacked Jade Cargill?
Honestly, as cheesy as it sounds, I literally have no idea. Like, my heart tells me it's probably Bailey, but other than that, like I literally don't know. I literally don't know like who did it. Who do you think?
And so the question is, a lot of people are pointing at names that are on TV, right? Like we're talking about Bailey. I feel like Naomi has the potential to be the culprit here. She has the most to gain. Think about it. Royal Rumble 2024. Naomi makes her big return. She was spending some time in TNA Wrestling, was their Impact Women's Champion, their Knockouts Champion, I should say. She makes her huge return at the Royal Rumble, and at the same event is overshadowed by Jade Cargill, makes her huge debut for the WWE coming from All Elite Wrestling. She becomes friends with Bianca Belair, who Naomi was trying to befriend there for a moment. She wins the tag titles. What happens when she gets injured? An opening reveals itself, and who's the one to swoop in and cash in on that opportunity? It's Naomi. I think Naomi certainly is the front runner for me. If not, I wouldn't be surprised if we see someone like Charlotte Flair make a return and kind of reclaim her spot at the top by taking out the newest acquisition on Friday Night SmackDown. What are your thoughts on that?
I so pretty much, man. I I'm still shocked because of what happened today. Like I really can't think straight because Raw was just that dang good. I know it sounds corny, but like Triple H has done it again. Like wrestling is like at its peak in like the longest. I'm just like, again, I'm in awe. Like I've just the way how wrestling is today and how they're moving, it's just skyrocketed to where it's mainstream. Everybody talks about it. A lot of celebrities. Like I have no words.
They've really been on fire. I mean, the level of momentum that they've been able to garner, certainly in the post Vince McMahon era. I mean, the business that they have done, the money that they're making here, the stars that are being made. I mean, since the Triple H era started, guys like Damian Priest, Jey Uso have skyrocketed to the top. Gabs, what's going on? Welcome to the chat. Appreciate you stopping by as well. Gabs thinks I think it was Naomi as well. It's a very popular theory, and maybe it's too obvious for some people, but sometimes the obvious answer is the right answer. So again, a great point there by Gabs, one of our diehard members here on the J area. Mohammed, welcome to the live stream as well. Mohammed says hi. Appreciate you stopping by as well here on a Monday night following a historic episode of Monday Night Raw. I'm here joined with SanFran5, my brother Jared. I'll give your government name out there for those who are interested. A big episode of Raw. One of my biggest takeaways, and it might be a little controversial, but I know you and I got a huge kick out of this. When it comes to old school pro wrestling, we were never Hulk Hogan guys. I think that's fair to say. Would you? Hulk,
Yeah, man, I was always a Piper guy.
Hulk Hogan appears on, again, a big episode of Monday Night Raw. Rightfully so. I mean, you want to bring out your legends, but the ovation, or the lack thereof, really, the boos that came in for Hulk Hogan, even he was taken aback. I mean, wow. What were your thoughts on that?
I thought it was kind of funny because obviously the criticism Hulk Hogan has taken and all the scandals he's allegedly done in the past. Honestly, I wouldn't say I'm a Hulk Hogan hater, but I did find it a little bit hilarious how he was being treated. Like you said, we were never really a Hulk Hogan guy. Actually, as a matter of fact, I have an Iron Sheik action figure hanging in my room. I'm actually looking at it right now. That just shows you how much I wouldn't say against Hogan, but I was really never a fan of him.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you here. And here in the stream, Muhammad joins us, and Muhammad says he hopes that everyone's doing well as your health, and same with everyone here in the live chat. Unfortunately, Muhammad missed the Raw earlier tonight. If you have Netflix, Muhammad, go ahead and check out the replay. It was a big episode of Raw. Hopefully, we're not spoiling too much for you, but I feel a lot of it we had already covered in last night's live stream. If you haven't had a chance to, make sure you go out of your way, watch the show for yourself, develop your own opinion on whether or not you enjoyed it. Gabs also joins us in the chat saying that they should also let Rhea enjoy her triumph. They better not take it away right away. I have to agree with you. I mean, Rhea Ripley, a star, mainstream appeal. Rhea Ripley was the champion for a year, had won it at WrestleMania 39, then had held the title all the way past WrestleMania 40, but had to drop the title due to injury. Now that Rhea has it back, I'm thinking she's gonna have a stranglehold on this championship. I can't see her losing the title fairly soon. I think again we're gonna be in store for a lengthy reign for Rhea Ripley, and I'm right with you, Gabs. I don't think they should let her drop it anytime soon. We'll see what they have in store. Muhammad also comments in the chat that I wish that they had free subscriptions. It would be better and easier. Hey, I don't blame you there, but I mean, everyone's got to make the money somehow, right? For sure, for sure. Well, Monday Night
Yeah,
Raw,
man.
Monday Night Raw. I mean, it was an awesome show, but we have some things to look forward to next week. Chad Gable, our residential Kurt Angle mini me, is gonna have a matchup against a luchador, an unnamed luchador. And if you've been following the channel, if you've been following, the news in pro wrestling, we kind of have an idea of who
And
this
I know who it is.
exactly this masked luchador may be. You want to fill in the audience, the members of the chat who may not be familiar with a certain Pentagon Jr. You want to fill them in there, brother.
Yeah, actually, I don't think it's Pentagon Jr. I think it's El Generico.
Very
He's been out for a while. Uh, I'm just bluffing, man. I'm just kidding. I'm just ribbing you. Um, so with Pentagon Jr., I was a huge fan of him ever since watching him at AEW, and I feel like the way how they're pushing him, the vignettes, it kind of reminds me how they did with Rey Mysterio back in '02 as like I wouldn't say like the next big thing, but like the aura though. The last time something like this happened was Sin Cara, if you remember, but we all know how that panned out. But I just feel like this one feels different. And like how funny is it that when Rey Mysterio first like debuted, I know his first match was against Chavo Guerrero, but one of his first big feuds was against Kurt Angle. And I feel like to have Chad Gable to go up against Pentagon kind of just reminds me reminisce of the 2002 run of Rey Mysterio.
I just think the style of Gabs is right on the money. Gabs over here says, "Is this Kittle's fave wrestler?" Right on the money, Gabs, 100%. You can't see obviously my brother on the screen here, but he knows the deal. George Kittle, every time he is able to make a catch here and gains enough yardage to gain a first down, his go-to celebration, of course, reminiscent of the zero fear that Pentagon Jr. does. Right on the money, Gabs knows what they're talking about. But we talk about
Mm-hmm.
Chad Gable. I think just that style of wrestling, whether it's a Kurt Angle, whether it's Chad Gable, is really complementary to all types of wrestling. Whether it's a heavyweight, whether it's a lightweight, a luchador, a technician. So if in fact this is who we're going to see Penta face for his first matchup, I can't imagine who is going to be a better opponent for Penta. Chad Gable on another level. Had a great 2024, is looking to win some championship gold in 2025. I'm hoping it's the Intercontinental title. I would love to see Chad get that title. Thought he was going to have it last year, but it looks like he's going to have a chance moving forward. But I mean, we talk about the Intercontinental Championship, and I would be remiss not to talk about Braun Breaker. What are your thoughts on Braun Breaker?
Braun Breaker, I love talking about this story. That well, I mean, I should say like a short story, but seeing his debut match at SmackDown, I knew him from NXT, of course, but seeing his debut match on SmackDown and obviously just squash match, as people would say, I knew he was gonna be like the next big thing. Like his just presence alone, like everything about him, I just love. Like it kind of reminds me of a mixture between Brock Lesnar and Batista in terms of when they were younger, and how like they move around and just he has that it factor, if that makes sense. He runs so fast, but he's way too like he's too big. Like he's too like too much meat, as people would say, that he shouldn't be moving as fast as that.
No, Braun Breaker is certainly a star in the making. And to go back here real quick to Pentagon, Gabs with another comment in the chat says this is going to be awesome. I mean, I totally agree. Pentagon's appearance is certainly going to shock the system to take away from another NXT talent there. But Braun Breaker has all the makings for a superstar. I mean, if he doesn't win a world championship within the next couple of years, I'm going to be shocked. This guy has the look, has the strength, has the charisma, and already has the backings of the WWE audience. Every time he enters the arena, you can hear the dogs barking for one Braun Breaker. And I love the fact that he is in the middle of not necessarily a full heel, but we don't hate him enough to be against the babyface. He's right in the middle. He's what we call a tweener. He falls right in between. And Braun Breaker, as the Intercontinental Champion, has plenty of superstars to plow through the roster here. Real quick, want to look at Muhammad, who dropped a comment in the chat, says Alexa Bliss as well. And speaking of John Cena, will he appear on SmackDown as well or just Raw? This is a great point. We know it's going to be John Cena's final year in WWE in Pro Wrestling 2025, the farewell tour. I would like to think yes, we're going to see him appear on SmackDown. Would it surprise me if they kept him relegated to Raw? No, not necessarily. Wouldn't surprise me, but I do think we have an option here, an opportunity to see John Cena on both Raw and SmackDown. And he made the proclamation of appearing in this year's Royal Rumble event. What were your thoughts on the promo by John Cena? And do you think he he has an opportunity to win the Royal Rumble? What would be his third Royal Rumble win if he were to do it?
So John Cena, the way how I see him, no matter what, he would always be the champ because the champ is always here, and his time is always now. I know his time is almost up. I personally think he has a really good shot to win the Rumble, but I just have like something in the back of my head is telling me there's a small little chance that someone is gonna be really jealous and overzealous on how he's having all the attention that they're taking away from this certain star. And I feel like that certain star is going to probably eliminate him in the Rumble. And I think one of his first matches or feuds, I would say, would be Carmelo Hayes. He's a young star. He was the first pick in the WWE draft, and I feel like he wants the spotlight. But I feel like for Cena to come in and to take it away from him, he's gonna be a little bit jealous.
Yeah, no, I'd have to agree. Carmelo Hayes, a star again, like a Braun Breaker, is a star in the making. I think him against John Cena would match up very well. He kind of has this chip on his shoulder where he want to be taken seriously. We've seen his interaction with the Usos this past week on SmackDown. Mello versus Cena is definitely a matchup I would love to see. To go back on the Rumble though, I don't think Cena wins as well. I think there's more money to be made if he loses, a little bit more drama to be brought to the table, have him lose the Rumble. I think you're on the money. Whoever eliminates Cena, I think that's more likely going to be leading into a matchup, whether it's at Mania, whether it's at Elimination Chamber, or better yet, if he loses at the Rumble, he's probably going to have a matchup at Elimination Chamber inside the chamber for a chance to win an opportunity at a title at WrestleMania. I'm gonna go ahead and on the record. I think whoever eliminates him from the Rumble is also gonna eliminate him from the Chamber, and it will be his opponent at WrestleMania. Is it gonna happen? Don't know, but I'd like to think that that's gonna be a possibility. John Cena though, an all-time legend, and I just want to take a moment here to highlight Cena because you got to give him praise. John Cena for the longest was ridiculed and hated by a large portion of the audience, and to see the reception that he's been receiving every time he comes out and the positive response that people are showing him, I'm a fan of John Cena. There was a point where, yeah, I thought he was getting over pushed, but now we miss him. And I love that he's coming back for one final run, allowing us, the fans, to appreciate him one final time. Go ahead and talk to us about some of your favorite John Cena matches or memories here on the chat.
So the one memory that always sticks out to me the most, I remember as a kid to where he was feuding with Edge back in '06. I like I remember where they were having a brawl outside of the arena, and I remember I don't know where exactly they were at that episode of Raw, but I remember specifically John Cena tossing out Edge into the shore off of the dock, and he was just in the water. Like it, that memory always sticks out with me. That whole feud, Edge, John Cena, like it always sticks out to me. One of my favorite matches of his would probably be WrestleMania 21, him against JBL for the undisputed title. I just to like from him winning the title and now to see where he's at right now, it's like wow, like he's pretty much been a part of us our whole like the majority of our lives, and like it is gonna be sad that he is gonna be retiring because he played a huge factor in my childhood to the point where I literally had buzz cuts as a kid because of him.
Yeah, no, I can't confirm. Our not only that, John Cena was a big indication on why we had the short hair, but our dad didn't like us having long hair either. So we always made sure we had a clean cut. But John Cena certainly had a big impact on us as kids growing up. During his rise, I was 7 years old, so that would make you about four while he
Yeah,
was on the rise. And one of our favorite gimmicks of all time was that Doctor of Thugonomics, where John Cena would come out with the sports jerseys. He came out rapping in the hip hop gimmick. I certainly think not only did it save his career, but I'd like to think that that Doctor of Thugonomics gimmick put him on the map. It put him to the next level. It opened him up as a mainstream star, not only in terms of pro wrestling, but it's soon where he got the album. He starred in The Marine. Obviously, you remember The Marine in 2006. And John Cena just hasn't looked back since. John Cena,
Yeah.
shout out to that album too. I got that as a kid growing up, and we had that on repeat. Bad Bad Man, obviously My Time Is Now. There was a couple bangers on that album. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I mean you're 100% right, man. Can I also have one more thing about John Cena when we were kids?
Please.
I remember when he was with the Doctor of Thugonomics gimmick, and also early John Cena of 2006 when he won the title. He was the reason why I always wanted those Reebok pump shoes, and now it's like I'm old enough, like I can work, I can get money. I managed to find and bought a pair of the Reebok pump shoes that he wore early in his career. Like he had a bold fashion statement, I might say. Actually, as a matter of fact, I feel like he was also one of the very few wrestlers to actually wrestle in sneakers. Not many people really did that. Everyone was traditional with the boots, but I feel like he was the one that kind of broke the barrier a little bit, and now everyone's wearing sneakers like the Usos, uh, well, other people. I know Carmella as well. She would come in with Jordan ones, and just like everyone.
Even Roman Reigns, who on tonight's episode of Raw, you pointed out, had a pair of Kobe's on. The sneaker culture certainly has infiltrated the WWE. Real quick, I want to address the chat here. Muhammad points out a good point that depending on Cena's commitments to Hollywood, that'll dictate his schedule to the WWE. And Muhammad also says that Cena was the Vanilla Ice and Eminem and also MC Hammer of the WWE during that time. Quick question to you, brother. Do you have access to the chat? Are you seeing this or not?
Uh, no.
No? Okay, then I'm going to read this next one out to you. Mama Ramos, dedicated fan and member of the J Area, shares in the chat, who got his documentary for Christmas? Referring to
Oh, it
John
was me,
Cena.
dude.
No, no, no,
It had my name on it,
no.
brother.
No, 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 no. No, see, Santa Claus makes one trip a year, right? And he has to travel
Hmm.
round and round. I mean, we're talking about Alaska to Antarctica all the way to Indonesia. He has to travel. Santa Claus isn't perfect. He might be this jolly giant, you know, giving out gifts to all the little children of the world. So he's bound to make at least one mistake. It may have had your name on it, but that certainly was mine. As a matter of fact,
I swear, if you're pulling it out right now, the DVD.
I don't know if you can see this, brother, but it's still here with me
I'm gonna pull up the stream actually.
in perfect
No,
condition,
if
might
you
I
caught
add.
me onto it, man. Like, come on, dude.
It's in
You gotta rub it in my face like that.
it's in tip top condition.
Oh my gosh. uh, well, John Cena. I just like. It's gonna hit me when it comes to his last match.
I totally
I am
agree.
gonna miss him. I just hope. So, since we're on the topic of John Cena, who are the wrestlers you like to see him face this year?
Everyone. I mean, John Cena, dude. So, if I had to knock it down to, a short list, certainly Carmelo. We talked about Carmelo Hayes. Real quick, I also want to point out to the chat, Mama Ramos confirms. She says, "Sorry guys, it was Jose's." Just one last,
Aw.
just one little comment in there. But to answer your question here, who I want John Cena to face during this last run, I'm gonna knock it down real quick. We said Carmelo for certain. Braun Breaker. It would be a throwback to Batista, like you talked about. Him against Braun Breaker, Jesus, that would be fantastic. But I think the
Randy
real
Orton would be another one.
exactly, you beat me to it. The real heavy hitter, Randy Orton, Gunther. Those two guys.
Ooh.
Good God Almighty. Can you imagine him against Gunther? You mentioned, I'm going to let you answer this real quick, but you mentioned that one of the best feuds matches that we have seen, Muhammad also agrees, says Randy Orton, 100%, but one of the best feuds I think Cena had, and was certainly the matchup that proved he can actually wrestle, was against Umaga, right? Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Oh
Him on
my
that level
goodness.
with Umaga. Imagine him against Gunther. Gunther, the ever powerful world champion, against the righteous and the babyface John Cena. That is a money matchup. Tell me it's not a money matchup.
Dave Meltzer would go crazy, man. I don't care. I already know that's gonna be one hell of a match, and then that probably might be up for like match of the year candidate. Gunther is one of my favorite wrestlers right now, and not just WWE, but in all of wrestling.
100%. And I know for certain him and John Cena could make magic. I think another guy, we said Randy, real quick to answer, to refer to that. They've had a legendary feud. I mean, good lord, the matches that they had. I will say maybe not the best matches. There were some stinkers out there, but to see him up against Randy just one last time would be cool. And you know who else
Oh
I
yeah,
think? You know who else I think would be a great matchup?
Joe Hendry. I'm just
You
playing.
say his name and he might appear. You're close though. It's a top babyface in the pro wrestling world. I think John Cena against Cody Rhodes. I mean,
Yeah,
we've seen it in 2009, during the Legacy days, but to see this version of Cody Rhodes up against John Cena, again, another big money matchup. And these are matches that could happen at WrestleMania. If John Cena wins the Rumble or wins the Chamber, Cody and Gunther are both the world champions for their respective brands. What are your thoughts there on a possible Cena versus Rhodes matchup there?
that would be a dream match because growing up, I love Cena. I grew up with him, but right now Cody is my favorite wrestler in WWE, and for them to be in a match together, like it's a dream come true because I like both of them, and I just feel like it's a win-win situation for the fans all across the WWE universe because it's a main eventer right there.
Yeah, no, and Muhammad in the chat says RIP Eddie fought too. I wish he was still alive. Rest in peace to Umaga. One of the best heels of his era. Certainly a throwback to previous eras as well. Muhammad also says that John Cena and Cody Rhodes did work briefly back in summer of 2008. I believe he means in 2009, which we did refer to during those legacy days. And also, we might pivot here. We did talk about John Cena. Let's talk about another legend here because Gabs, again, another fire comment in the chat here. Gab says, how about The Undertaker making a special appearance? I know you're a big Undertaker guy, so I'm going to let you take it away. What were your thoughts here on The Undertaker's short cameo here on the Raw debut on Netflix?
All right, now you're speaking my language. The moment I heard the first gong, I literally had goosebumps from my wrist all the way to my shoulders because I knew that gong, everybody knows that gong. See, the three noises in WWE, or I should say the first second of every like wrestler song, there's The Undertaker, Stone Cold, and probably The Rock, I would say. That just has like that big aura. And no matter what, it always gives you chills down your spine. To see Undertaker come out with the bike, of course, and to give Rhea the thumbs up, like I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, no, a great moment there. And I want to make a correction here. Muhammad brings out Cena Batista versus Rhodes and DiBiase Jr. during the Priceless days. Very good point. That was actually a real good call out there. The early days of Priceless prior to the Legacy. Big shout out to Muhammad. And you talk about The Undertaker. And it was huge to have a rub there with Rhea Ripley and put her over as a star. Hey, my man, I'm going to cut you off real quick. I know we're talking about The Undertaker. But Gabs over here, thank you for the super chat, Gabs. Appreciate it. But Gabs wants to know who wants to see what San Fran looks like, and it's already getting likes. It's already getting likes on the stream here.
Oh, buddy. All right, guys. So the way how I would put it, I look exactly like Jose except less facial hair.
No, because you got hair on your head. I don't got hair on mine.
Yeah. Oh man, you guys are really putting me like on the spot right
They're
there,
putting you on
man.
the
Like,
spot here, brother. Hey, if we can get more likes on Gabs' super chat there, what do you think?
uh, Soon, guys, soon. We're
Oh,
working something out right now.
oh, you don't want to make an appearance yet.
Not yet.
Oh man. Okay, stay
I'm
tuned.
yeah. I'm gonna save it for a special occasion. Uh, let's just say I'll come in. I wouldn't say unannounced, but I'll let you guys know when. But I do have something in the works. You just gotta stay tuned.
Gabs in the chat says, he said, "Hey, buddy. Hey, you know what? But if there's one thing that we pride ourselves is delivery, and if we promise you something, you know we're gonna deliver. SanFran5 agrees that hey, we're gonna be doing some collaboration here on the live stream on the channel. We do have something in store for you guys. We hope you're looking forward to it, and we hope you enjoy it as much as we are. So keep an eye out. It might not be tonight because he's a little camera shy, I suppose, but it is coming. The arrival, the reemergence, and the return of SanFran5
Repackaged, you could
here.
say.
The repackage, you might even say, of SanFran5. He will be coming very soon. We'll get some vignettes produced to get you going and returning here.
Yeah. Okay, so besides from the Undertaker, about Legends, can we just talk about how The Rock opened the show?
The Rock with a big opener there, huh? I was surprised that we were going to open with The Rock.
Yeah, that threw me off guard. I heard he was gonna make an appearance, but to open the show like that, like that gave me goosebumps.
Hey, you know, if you haven't seen in the video, because I think you're just going off of audio, I got the goosebumps. It's the mana. You can feel it coursing through the veins. But The Rock, I think that was unexpected, I will say. But from a business standpoint, it makes perfect sense. It's the new era, the Netflix era of Monday Night Raw. You want to start it off with the bang. You gotta bring out The Rock. Hey, Hector Ramirez in the chat. Hector, thank you again for stopping by here in the chat. Are you saying it?
Yeah, what's up, Hector?
What's up? Hector says we want
How's it going?
San Fran.
Soon, guys, soon. You gotta
Oh
stay
man,
patient. I'm all about quality over quantity, if that makes sense.
there you go. We've been wanting to have this collaboration and have him on the stream, but like he said, we don't want to overshoot it. We want to be able to deliver on these appearances. We're not going to have him work 365 days. That's my job. I work 365 days on this channel, but to have him come in as a guest, as our guest here on the live stream, I don't know about you, but I'm very pleased to see the welcomed reception by members of the J area for SanFran5. A huge welcome. And first of all, I do want to give you credit, real quick, not to get sentimental here, but upon embarking on this endeavor, on this journey of YouTube and the J area, and talking about pro wrestling, I don't know if you know this, but you were one of the driving factors in pursuing this, because I can remember a
Mm-hmm.
time when I was questioning it, I was hesitant, and I wanted to make the jump. And I don't know if you remember this, but one of the things you told me, and it's stuck with me ever since you said it, because honestly, I think it's one of the most profound things you've ever told me face to face. But you said those who tend to bet on themselves usually succeed. And so
Mm-hmm.
for you to tell me that, this is my opportunity to prove you right. So I want to give you the major props there and thank you for believing in this and for taking part in this live stream today.
Well, I just want to say we've had a long way in terms of not just personal life, but also on the YouTube side. Being here with you is really a blessing because, as a matter of fact, I did used to be a streamer on Twitch, and I really took a hiatus because I wouldn't say shy, but I was really hard on myself. I would say in terms of just having an audience. I always wanted to have a really good time and interact with people and to interact with you guys. It really is a blessing. I'm really thankful for you guys for letting me be on here and for you guys to give me a warm welcoming. I'm just like I'm really happy. Like wow, I'm trying so hard not to break and just start crying over here. But it's like I really like interacting with you guys because one of my dreams was to have like a own YouTube channel, or let alone just interact, and to be over here, on here with you. It's like almost as if like my dreams is kind of coming true, in a sense. I always like talking about things I'm really passionate about, whether if it's just gaming, sports, or especially wrestling. I'm just really glad that like you're you're succeeding, dude. I'm really happy for you, and like I'm the way how things is going, like it's gonna keep going up from here on out.
Hey, well, I appreciate that, and we've always had the mindset where if one wins, we all win, and if one loses, the other one's going to be there to lift the other one up. So the continued growth is just a testament to not only our work here on the channel, but a testament to the following that we have here on YouTube, because that's one thing I prided myself in, is being able to interact with like-minded wrestling fans who are as passionate, if not even more passionate about other things that we are interested in as well. But in terms of the internet, there's a lot of toxicity, uh, not just pro wrestling, but just in general. So my one goal was to be able to create a community and encourage that positivity. And I gotta say, with people like Gabs, Mama Ramos, Muhammad, Alex, Kevin, Sam, there's so many people there that I want to give a quick shout out. For them to have this type of reception, that's a testament to them as well. So much appreciated. This would not be possible with any of you guys. And real quick, before we dive into another topic, I want to go ahead and address the chat. Also, shout out to Hector as well. I forgot to bring up Hector. Shout out to Hector. I wanted to bring up some of the members of the chat here. Sam Rodriguez joins us in the chat. Says, "SanFran, you better not disappoint and give us nightmares. Are you camera pretty?" I can assure you, he has our genes, so he only looks as great as me. Sam also says, "Jose is awesome at what he does. You have a great role model." That's very flattering. I appreciate that, Sam. We're just out here doing our best. That's all we can do. As long as you do your best, you can never go wrong. So much appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Lucha is Life joins us also, another one of our consistent members and diehard members here on the stream. Lucha is Life
How's it
says,
going, man?
"That's right, that's right." Lucha is Life says, "So San Fran, we are here to support you. We are a big family." Damn right, damn right. Big shout out to Lucha's Life.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you. Uh, I will say I'm really glad to be on here, to where I feel open, to where I can say. I hope you're okay with me saying this, but I
Yeah.
feel comfortable to where I want to interact with you guys more, and I'm trying to be on here more for the reactions, especially for the PLEs, with the PLE reactions, because I feel like it's more appropriate for me to be on the PLEs because it's more eventful, I would say. I'll pop in every now and then for Raw and SmackDown, depending on how my schedule is, and if life doesn't get in the way of all that. But for the PLEs, I'll be there for the most part, guys. So just stay tuned. I believe the next PLE is the Royal Rumble, correct?
That is correct. The Royal Rumble coming from Indianapolis. It'll be in on February 1st, actually, the first time I think ever. We're going to get a Royal
Oh
Rumble
wow.
on the month of February. But I know I'll speak for myself, and I'm thinking the members of the J area will also agree. We would love to have you on more often than not. And I do believe that the Royal Rumble is an awesome opportunity. For those of us who are joining the live stream today, my name is Jose Ramos Jr. This is my brother, SanFran5, aka Jared. This was kind of like a quick decision here. We pulled the trigger and we decided to go ahead and have a co-hosted show. So although you can only see me and my bald head, pretty soon we're going to try to have him as well on the screen, whether it's in person or whether it's in some virtual capacity. We definitely want to have a simulcast, excuse me, and have that opportunity, because I think the more participation that we get on this live stream and on this channel, the bigger we can all continue to grow as a community. And I'm super excited. 2024 was a huge year. 2025, we're already off to such a hot start. I mean, we're getting more people joining the main event mafia, as I'm calling it, for those who are joining the main event package. Shout out to Perk Angle and the main event mafia. And I just know the level of momentum is going to continue to go over WrestleMania 41, dude. I mean, we talked about the Rumble, and this episode of Raw was big. The Rumble is
Hmm.
traditionally the the beginning of the road to WrestleMania, but I very much feel that tonight's Raw was the unofficial beginning of the road to WrestleMania. WrestleMania 41, Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas, Nevada. How excited are you to see WrestleMania 41, dude? Talk to him.
Dude, honestly, I'm gonna request like the Friday, the Saturday, the Sunday, and the Monday off because WrestleMania always means so much to me. I love it. I never get tired of watching WrestleManias, or even like if I'm just on my downtime, I'll just put a WrestleMania in the background. Like I love WrestleMania season. It's probably the best season of the year, not just wrestling, but in all sports entertainment because anything could happen, anything can go. There's many surprises. It's a big deal.
You know, and you and I, we grew up fans of the Bay Area, which shout out the name of the J Area has a double meaning. J Area obviously is in reference to the Bay Area. We grew up fans. There's also another personal reason that we'll get to maybe rather soon. I don't know if they want me to divulge that second reason, but we grew up fans of the Niners, Giants, and Warriors. And because sometimes the seasons might not be as successful, let me take a look at the Niners. I feel like you and I can agree pro wrestling has always been there. It's been a consistent form of entertainment and something that we can escape. And I know WrestleMania certainly is
Hmm.
looking to be a huge show. Since we're on the topic of WrestleMania and here on the live streams, initially, this was intended to be, you know, Raw and SmackDown reactions, but I'd like to think of myself a man of the people. And I feel like these live streams are the most fun when we're just talking. We talk about WrestleMania. You want to share with the chat and the members of the J area on some of your favorite WrestleMania memories, whether it's of all time or that we got to see live, because our first WrestleMania live was WrestleMania 22, and from then we have not missed one. So, if you want to go ahead and just share a moment or a match that really sticks out for you.
Well, my favorite moment would probably have to be WrestleMania 26. We went there when they came here to Glendale, Arizona, at the Cardinal Stadium. My favorite memory was probably the Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels match, the Streak versus Career. I just remember as a kid, I was in second grade and I was 9 years old, I believe. Or no, I was eight. I was 8 years old. I was going to be nine that year. I just remember our dad. He got his tickets for WrestleMania, and I remember on that same day, the morning, we were getting haircuts, and then after we got the haircuts, we got dressed, went straight to the stadium. Actually, I remember even where we were at in the parking lot. I remember getting off and waiting in line to go inside the stadium. And I remember the match I was excited to see was that Undertaker match because Undertaker is my favorite wrestler of all time, guys. And I just remember we were sitting. Where would you say we were sitting at?
We were sitting, I don't know what section it was, but we're basically right behind the field goal posts where they kick the field goals in the uprights. We're in that section and like towards like the front of
Yeah.
it. So like we had tremendous seats. Shout out to our parents
Hmm.
for being able to pull that off.
Yeah. My favorite memory was when our dad somehow he got the hookups from one of the employees working over there, and we somehow managed to walk on the ground level and go as closest to the stage, and we saw Shawn Michaels and Undertaker's entrance. And I remember I was sitting on my dad's shoulders, and I could just feel the flames bursting up in the air when Undertaker was coming out. And I just remember watching him come out, and I was just in awe, like, oh my gosh, like that's the Undertaker, and I'm literally like less than 50 yards away from him, and just seeing him walk to the ring, I was just like, wow, like this is real. Man,
Yeah,
dude,
it was
talk about memory lane.
it was certainly surreal, and his name was Carl, the individual who had worked at the
Mm-hmm.
stadium previously, worked with our father, and was able to get us down there. And we talked about it previously on the channel. There is video, I believe it's a short, where I actually uploaded it. It's WrestleMania 26. There is a moment there where you can see my brother, myself, and our dad walking on camera. It's something I'm super proud about. It's super cool to know that we were technically on pay-per-view WrestleMania 26. And you mentioned that The Undertaker is your favorite of all time. That matchup was, I think, very big for you and I because Shawn Michaels is my favorite of all time. So I thought it was awesome to see your favorite against my favorite in
Mm-hmm.
arguably one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. And I'm very blessed and very fortunate to have shared that moment with you as well as Dad, and that's something I certainly always go back to as one of my favorites. Real quick here,
Oh yeah.
before we get to another topic, want to give a shout out here to Gabs again in the chat. Gab says, "Dang, he has to check his schedule to join Jose. Sanfran, you sound totally opposite to Jose. You seem to be more laid back and funny, and Jose reminds me of Ernie." I just want to be sure. Which Ernie are we talking about? Because I have a couple in mind.
The I think the only Ernie I know is probably Ernie from the Inside the NBA show, Ernie Johnson.
See, that's what I was hoping. I love Ernie Johnson. He is like my inspiration. I talked about this with Dad. You know, Ernie Johnson, what he is for basketball, what Rich Eisen is for football. Man, I would love to do that for pro wrestling. And if Ernie Johnson is the comparison, I'll take it. Like, that's a compliment. You said the only one you know is Ernie Johnson. I thought like Bert and Ernie. I didn't know. I just wanted to be sure if it was Ernie Johnson. But if that's the case, Gab says yes, you are correct. Hey, I'll take it. That's a huge compliment to me, and that's why I'm super happy and fortunate to have you joining us here on the live stream because it allows me someone to bounce off of and kind of provide a little bit more of an insight as to who we are as people. Because at the end of the day, yeah, we're people on the screen, but we're fans like just you and I. So that's super awesome. They think you're funny, and they're more laid back. And if only they knew the real you, man. He could be a wild one sometimes.
Oh yeah, I can be a wild one. To put it out in perspective, guys, the way how our dynamic works, the closest I can put it is probably the Hardy Boys, as on a regular daily basis, to where Matt Hardy is the older brother making sure his younger brother's in check. But then whenever we're really passionate about something, our presence can really be the brothers of destruction in terms of how hot-headed I can be sometimes for certain occasions, I would say. But all in all, I just I'm just here to have a fun time, guys.
You heard it here. Real quick, Muhammad says, "Do you see my question or my answer or my comment in the chat?" The last one that I saw, oh, I think we skipped over it. Muhammad in the chat said, "Speaking of the Undertaker, this was a while back. My apologies." Said he should start managing Rhea Ripley and no Becky Lynch earlier tonight. Yeah, Becky Lynch didn't make an appearance. I honestly thought we were going to see Becky Lynch. I do not think the Undertaker should manage Rhea Ripley at all, though. Personally, I don't think she needs it. She doesn't need a speaking, like a mouthpiece for her. She doesn't need someone to be a managerial position. I think Rhea Ripley's fine. I think all that was The Undertaker giving the rub and giving his approval and endorsing Rhea Ripley, which I think is huge already. I mean, Rhea Ripley's a star, but with someone like The Undertaker, dude, that's huge. Kevin, Kevin joins in the chat. Kevin, dude, where have you been? Welcome to the chat.
Kevin.
That's right. Say what up to Kevin. Kevin, if you are just joining us, Kevin. Um, we're doing a post show reaction here to Monday Night Raw on Netflix. I have SanFran5 joining us, my brother SanFran5 here in the live stream today. Go ahead and say hi to Kevin again, brother.
Howdy, Kevin. How have you been, man?
Kevin in the chat says Punk did a good job at making us believe he stood a chance against Taker. Yeah, WrestleMania 29. That was a great match, dude. Remember that?
Oh yeah, oh
It,
yeah. I'm a big CM Punk guy as well, and for that match to happen, I thought it was a really fun match.
Kevin also says that match was also one of the last WrestleManias where Taker didn't look old. Yeah, because
Yeah,
after that we had WrestleMania 30, and that was like the beginning of the
don't
end
remind
of.
me.
I'm sorry. It's a touchy subject. He's a Taker guy.
Yeah,
It was like a big moment there. A great match. It was Punk's last. Well, no, as of right now, it is technically CM Punk's last WrestleMania match. He hasn't had a match at Mania since then.
that is true. I'm really hoping this year's WrestleMania, at least one of the nights, to where he can main event a WrestleMania. I feel like he's due for one. He's way overdue.
I certainly think so. And the only chance he has is if it's going to be for the world title. I honestly think that Punk is going to win the Rumble. I think he's going to do it.
I, it's too soon to tell. Uh, I would say give me like a week before, then I can give you my take on it.
Yeah. No,
But
absolutely.
like, there's too many people. Let alone, uh, we're not even including returns, because correct me if I'm wrong, but AJ Styles he's been on a hiatus for a bit, wouldn't you say?
AJ Styles has been gone. He suffered an injury. I think it was against Carmelo, if I'm not mistaken. So that's certainly a possibility. He's my early pick, though. Of course, I'm not going to pull a Jerry the King Lawler and switch all the time about who I have winning it. I definitely think that Punk
Yeah.
is a big contender to win. Uh, Speaking of big contenders, how about contender for moment of the night? Kevin in the chat says, "What's up with booing Hogan?" Man, if you would have been here earlier, we were booing with them. We're not Hogan guys, man. We've
I'm an
all
Iron Sheik guy.
I'm a Piper guy. We like Piper. We like Savage. I like Savage. You like Savage, right?
Oh yeah, I like Savage.
Yeah, we like Savage. Um, Even like our dad, he was a Warrior guy. Like we just I get it. Don't get me wrong. I totally get that the influence of Hulk Hogan on the business. You can't deny it. A huge reason why pro wrestling is where it's at is because of the work by Hogan. But since then, I mean, whether you want to go personal or not, his style is just not for me. It's just not for me.
Hmm. And the way I look at it, you can't thank Hogan's run without Iron Sheik winning the title.
He did. Yeah,
Without Iron Sheik, there would have been no Hulkamania.
you could make that argument. Muhammad also in the chat says the streak should have ended when the Undertaker retired. What do you? Okay, that's a great point here, Muhammad. Do you think the streak should have ended, or do you think Undertaker's last match should have been the ending of the streak as well? What is your take? In a perfect world, how would you have booked the streak? Would it have ended, or would you have continued it?
Personally, if I was Taker, what I feel like the right time to retire is to lose at WrestleMania. After just one loss, then that's it. Because if you remember, I don't know which documentary it was, but Taker did say that the only way he's gonna retire is to lose WrestleMania because he's pretty much done everything. What else does he have to prove?
I agree. Part of me, again, as the fan, I didn't want that streak to end. I
Oh
wanted
yeah,
him because the time honored tradition is you're gonna retire, you're gonna go on your back. You're gonna
yeah,
retire,
you got
you gotta lose the last match. You gotta put over the
yeah.
future.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the Undertaker was the exception to that rule. If we're gonna end the streak, Kevin brings this up in the chat. Says Taker should have ended the streak with Roman. That's a great possibility, right? But here's the problem. Roman at that time was being heavily pushed. I'm talking like super push to be the babyface,
Yeah.
and a lot of people were against it. If you
Hmm.
guys remember, the night after
Oh God.
WrestleMania 33, you know where I'm going with this.
Yes, I know where you're going.
The night after WrestleMania 3 or 33, Roman had beaten The Undertaker, causing him a second loss at WrestleMania, and the crowd was chanting F you Roman.
Hmm.
Roman sucks. They didn't even let him speak for like 10 minutes, and the only thing Roman got to say, this is my yard now. And the crowd booed him like he was heel. He was a
Yeah.
heel. So if they had The Undertaker lose to Roman for the streak, you had to make him a heel. You have to make him a heel. And if you don't want him to be a heel, he can't break the streak. But I will agree, Roman ideally would have been a good choice, but not the way they were booking him. Do you want my opinion? I think Bray Wyatt could have been a shot there. Bray Wyatt to be the new face of fear. He, I think, would have benefited from, because Roman Reigns would have been Roman Reigns. Brock Lesnar's Brock Lesnar. But Bray Wyatt, had he had beaten The Undertaker, I think that would have done a lot for Bray Wyatt. What do you think?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I remember the match. It was WrestleMania 31. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct.
And I just remember heading into the match, I was like, "What are the odds that he can beat him?" But at the same time, I knew he wasn't gonna beat him because obviously we just got out of WrestleMania 30.
Yeah.
But I feel like he would have a really good chance.
No, certainly. And then looking into the other members of the chat here, just to catch up with them. Muhammad says the streak should have ended with The Undertaker retired. Yes, we talked about that. Kevin said, I think Cena is going to win it. I think that's in reference to the Rumble. Um, we talked about it. We don't think Cena's going to win. I think it's too on the nose. I feel like he's going to lose. And SanFran5 agrees with me, where whoever eliminates Cena, that might be who's going to feud with him heading into Mania. WrestleMania 30 was the wrong call for sure. It's hit or miss. I understand why they did it. I'm not a fan. Kevin asks, who won tonight, Punk or Rollins? You already know. Look at the
The fans
T-shirt.
won.
The fans won. Good answer. Good answer. The fans won, but CM Punk got the W on Seth Rollins. Kevin says Taker should have
Wait,
ended this.
actually, I can't see your shirt.
Well, I'm talking to the people who were in the chat, sir.
Okay,
You can't.
okay, okay.
I know you can't see it, but you know,
You can't see me.
you've just missed it. I just did it. Muhammad also says he is Mr. WrestleMania. No offense to Michaels, in reference to The Undertaker. I don't know. It's tough. Mr. WrestleMania is Shawn because he's always had the best matches. But Taker, I mean, Taker's matches, dude, were something else. Because you had world title matches, and then the next big match was, well, who's The Undertaker going to fight? He just had that aura, as the kids would say. Am I right?
You're definitely right, man. You're 100%.
Uh,
Since we're on the topic of WrestleMania and Undertaker, what is your favorite Undertaker match at WrestleMania besides Shawn Michaels?
See, that's a cop out because you already know the Shawn Michaels matchup was
Oh yeah,
was my favorite. Real quick before I
come
answer
on,
that,
dude.
Kevin says I agree. Wyatt would have been a great story as well. He really liked Wyatt's work with Cena in the cinematic WrestleMania type match. It was fantastic. It was great work. In terms of my favorite WrestleMania matchup that wasn't Shawn Michaels related, I think I'm gonna have to go WrestleMania 28. Is that cheating? Because Triple H is who he fought, but Shawn Michaels was the referee. Are you gonna allow that, or do I have to change my pick?
I'll allow it.
Just because one, it's Hell in a Cell. Who doesn't love a good Hell in a Cell? Plus, it was the culmination of like a 6 year story between DX and The Undertaker. And before anybody wants to correct me and say technically it was 4 years because WrestleMania 25, 26, 27, 28. No, 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 no. It's 6 years. Because before 25 and 26, Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker had a great showdown at the Royal Rumble 2007. And then the following year in 2008, They were the first two members in the Rumble. And then in 2009, they had the matchup. 26 was the rematch. 27 was Hunter. And 28 was one of the best Hell in a Cell matches I've seen. So, I mean, other than the Shawn Michaels match, that Triple H matchup at WrestleMania 28 was fantastic. I honestly think that was one of the best matches WrestleMania has had. What are your thoughts on that Hell in a Cell match?
Well, it is called the end of an era as a reason. I just remember heading into that match. I was, oof, I believe I was like in what, fourth grade when that happened? Fifth
Uh,
grade?
it was 2012, so you would have been 10, fifth grade?
2012. About, yeah. I just remember uh the match when it first started, Lori in the cell. I believe they were playing Metallica, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. It was a really fun match to begin with. I do remember a few angles of the match where Shawn Michaels, Sweet Chin, Undertaker, and even then like Taker would even kick out, and like Taker just has that presence to where like WrestleMania, that's him. Let alone the Hell in a Cell, that's his yard. So that's like think about that. It's almost impossible to beat him at his own match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, no, he certainly had the home field advantage there. Kevin in the chat also says that he agrees why it would have been a great story, like what we talked about that. But Kevin says, I don't agree with the decision of Punk winning tonight. He doesn't need the win. Punk will be Punk. Rollins is young and has a chip on his shoulder. I would have given the win to Rollins. Do you want me to take away on that, or do you want to start there?
I can start if you want. In my opinion, I feel like Pug should have won because if you remember a few weeks leading up to tonight, he had no business fighting Seth. He had nothing to do with Seth. Seth jumped in and wanted to obviously go up against the match, but Punk was like, "Why am I gonna fight you? Like, why?" So I feel like Punk had the reason to win the match, but I can see where you're coming from, Kevin. There is no wrong answer, but yeah, what's your take on it, dude?
So I'm gonna tell you right now. Okay, Punk should have 100% won, and I'm gonna tell you why. CM
Why?
Punk, CM Punk is a top star. He's a draw. We know Rollins is as well, but Rollins is gonna be there day in and day out. He's always gonna be available. Barring injury. I'm not hoping for that. We love Rollins here. Punk is an attraction. I think Punk beating Rollins is the right move now because if Kevin wasn't able to watch it, he asked who won. Following his victory, you could see the wheels turning. Rollins is going to lose it. He's going to blow a gasket. We're going to see Seth Rollins, I think, ditch the whole visionary and revolutionary. He's going to be a killer. He's going to want to go after Punk. This is going to enrage Rollins. So I think eventually we will have a rematch. I think we'll have a rematch. And that's when Rollins is going to get the win. Where will it happen? I don't know. If you ask me, I think this is what could happen. And again, maybe I'm off. But what if Rollins at some point wins the world title back from Gunther? Punk wins the Royal Rumble. We get a rematch, or vice versa. I don't know. Punk gets the title and Rollins gets a championship opportunity. Whatever the case, I think there's an opportunity for WrestleMania 41 to be Punk and Rollins have the rematch. And I don't know. I just feel like we're gonna have a rematch, and that's when Rollins is gonna get the win. That's my take.
Mm-hmm.
Muhammad in the chat says they're both Mr. WrestleMania in their own right, referring to Shawn and The Undertaker. Muhammad also says rest in peace to Bray Wyatt. Wyndham Rotunda should have been the one to end the streak. Agreed. I think that would have been a fantastic choice had they made that decision. Everyone say hi to Sean in the chat. What's going on, Sean? Welcome to the live stream. And Big Neff Network also making an appearance here, making a run in here on the J Area live stream. Big Neff Network. Punk has been on a roll. Totally agree. I want to get to Gabs real quick because Gabs has a good question here. Guys, what match do you recommend with a lot of color, a lot of blood? What's a matchup that comes to your mind in terms of a lot of color.
The first one I thought was the I Quit match at Judgment Day. I believe it was 2005. It was John Cena versus JBL.
Mm-hmm.
Another one would probably be Judgment Day 2004. It was JBL versus Eddie Guerrero.
Two solid options. I mean, the amount of blood. I want to preface. I'm not one of those guys who is like, oh, I need to see blood in wrestling. I think when it's appropriate, blood can enhance the match and can enhance the story. I don't think you need it all the time. But what we saw with Eddie
Mm-hmm.
Guerrero and John Cena in those matches in 2004's Judgment Day and 2005's Judgment Day were, dude, out of this world. Eddie Guerrero had like a deep cut where he was
Yeah.
just bleeding immensely. Like you couldn't even see his skin. He was just red at that point.
Well,
So
correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he botch the cut and accidentally he cut way too deep?
apparently, the story goes is that he cut too deep with the blade, and it just, had a lot of blood obviously came out. If you want
Mm.
that type of blood, Judgment Day '04 and '05 are certainly great opportunities there to see that. In terms of
Yeah.
others, because you took away some really good Gabs, it was Eddie Guerrero against JBL in 2004 Judgment Day. JBL
Can I
also
also add another match?
hold on. JBL also fought John Cena in 2005's Judgment Day. That's who we're referring to. Eddie versus John Cena. Go ahead, throw out another match.
Okay, I'm gonna need your help on this one
Go ahead.
because it was between Shawn Michaels versus Triple H. I believe it was 2004. Was it Backlash or Vengeance or
Was it one on one?
Royal Rumble? Yeah,
I think you're referring to the 2004 Royal Rumble match. It was a last
hmm
man standing match.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's that one. Yeah, that one. It's a great storytelling. It's Shawn and under not Shawn and Triple H. I mean, you can't go wrong with them too.
Big Nef Network makes SummerSlam '02. I think is Big Nef Network's point. They say SummerSlam '02 was also Triple H
Oh yeah.
and Shawn, but that one didn't have as much color. It did have color, but the Royal Rumble '04 had a lot of color. No, no, you're right. No, Network, you are right. The match happened at
Yeah.
SummerSlam, but the Royal Rumble 2004 matchup just had a little bit more blood. So you're right. You're right as well in that respect. I think, and I want
hmm
to get to these other questions here in the chat, but I want to also give out mine. One matchup that I don't think gets talked about a lot is because it was in another promotion. AEW had Double or Nothing, Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes, the Battle of the
Oh my
Brothers.
goodness.
That had a lot of blood as well, but it wasn't like,
That one did.
and it wasn't like a bad blood feud. It's just they happen to have blood, and I mean that's another one where it's like the blood enhanced the story. I really love that
hmm
matchup. For me personally, it's my favorite AEW match. Dustin versus Cody Rhodes, Double or Nothing, 2019.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but was that also the match where at the end Cody gave Dustin a contract to AEW? Or was no tag team partner? It was tag team partner, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember because uh, I used to watch Being the Elite, and they would always poke fun at Cody for crying because he said he needed his older brother.
No, that's fact. That is in fact when it happened. It became a meme at that point, and he's been labeled, the Cody Crybaby now because of his. He shows a lot of emotion. We got emotions too, man.
hmm
You know. Big Nef Network points out Dustin took Cody to the edge. It was a great match. I really think
Oh
it's
yeah.
one of their best matches. I'm gonna play catch up
hmm
here and catch up on the chat. Um, Muhammad points out at least Punk didn't get injured this time. 100%. There was a moment there on a dive to the outside where I was worried,
Yeah.
but it looks like Punk is okay, thankfully. Big Nef Network says they show Gunther no respect tonight. There was a lack of world champions. We didn't see,
Yeah.
we didn't see Gunther or Cody. We did see Cody, but not like in a wrestling perspective. But it's because technically he's not cleared. But yeah, no respect for Gunther today, aside from the little package they had. Network also asks who's going to face Gunther. I'm assuming that's in reference to WrestleMania. I think honestly, it's either going to be Punk or Cena. I don't know. Gunther. I don't know. It's a really good question as to who could face Gunther at WrestleMania. Will he even be the world champion by the time we get there? Right?
I do not know, man. I do not know.
Kevin in the chat says Punk really makes Drew and Rollins ditch their gimmicks because Punk is like, hey, let's be real. Punk a little instigator. He's gonna get under people's skin, and they're gonna drop the haha gimmicks, and they're gonna lock in. He just does that to some people. He gets under their skin. That Drew McIntyre feud, fire. The Rollins feud so far, fire, and I don't think they're done yet. Finally catching up, Big Neff Network also mentions in terms of color, Lesnar versus Taker, Hell in a Cell. 2002, No Mercy. A great choice. A great choice there by Big Neff Network. If you remember, Brock Lesnar was the WWE champion at the time, facing The Undertaker. This was the pay-per-view event where Undertaker had to wrestle with the cast because Brock Lesnar broke his hand. If you remember that. Mm-hmm. Big shout out to Big Neff Network with that deep cut of a matchup. No pun intended, because deep cut for the way these guys be blading. But great point there. Hey, Kevin wants to know, what's your favorite funny moment from WWE? Ooh, that's a good one.
I have so many.
I want to preface
Probably.
this. Hold on.
I'll let you go.
Hold on. No. I'll let you go. But first of all, humor and comedy are subjective. So our answers might not be the answers you're looking for. So what is our favorite funny moments from the WWE? I'll go ahead and let you take it away. I got to think of one for myself.
So there is so many. But growing up, I always loved DX, especially in the Attitude Era. Just anything that they would do is just hilarious. Another one would a specific one, for example, would probably be the presidential speech.
That's
because
a good one.
they were just poking fun. They were just poking fun at the network because of the way how the show was. That it was for like more mature audiences, but it was supposed to be meant for children, or just more family friendly, I would say.
Yeah.
Another one that when I think of funny in WWE, I just think of like, what in the world are they doing? Like shock value, I would say.
Yeah.
Probably the Val Venus angle.
Good God.
The famous one. I just find that hilarious.
Are you talking about Choppy Choppy?
Like, yeah, because who pitched that idea?
It was the Attitude Era.
Who thought that'd be a good idea?
It was the Attitude Era. It was a different time.
So Gabs has a question. Was I even old enough to watch that? So I wasn't even born yet. As a matter of fact, we watched it later on through the WWE, it was the Raw anniversary DVD set you had.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, I believe that's where I saw it from for the first time, and I thought that was like hilarious. What's yours, man? So I'm gonna mute my mic. I'm just gonna burst out laughing.
So real quick, I'm glad that you actually see the chat too. That helps out. But I think I'm going back to the Val Venus stuff. There was a time, dude, I watched a lot of the stuff before you, and I had to like kind of censor it. I was like, okay, yeah. he's younger. I don't want him to see certain things at a certain age. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch it, and then when you're ready, okay, I might show you. So at this point, you've been caught up for sure. For me, real quick before I give my answer, I want to give some of the answers here in the chat. Big Neff Network says noted, thank you, Big Neff. Or excuse me, Gabs says noted, thank you, Big Neff, in reference to the Brock Lesnar matchup. Kevin says, I like DX comedy segments with the little people under the ring. That is, that's right on the money. Kevin is like with us because he has similar taste of humor here.
Yeah,
Big Neff Network says when DX pulled up to the WCW show in a tank, fantastic.
that was a good one. That was a great one.
Al Snow with head was funny, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Noemi, welcome to the chat. Appreciate you stopping by. Big Neff Network says, "LOL, I feel old now." And Gab says, "Where were your parents?" They were around. They were
They were.
around, but
Yeah.
but sometimes when it just happens, it wasn't
Yeah.
like we were hiding anything, you know.
hmm I want to backtrack to a Big Neff Network.
Yeah,
Honestly, I always tell uh people like this all the time. In my opinion, I was born in the wrong generation. I was born in 2001. Uh, and I just feel like I was just raised as a 90s kid, and like
facts.
I feel more acquainted to the 90s more so than the late 2000s, I would say. I was like in the middle, I would say. But I really, whenever people say I feel old now, at the same time, I feel like I'm with you guys. As a matter of fact, one of my coworkers who is a kid, even though I'm technically a kid as well, I had to explain to them what Blockbuster was. And I'm just like, what? Like, it's Blockbuster.
Kevin in the chat says, Kurt's segment with Edge holding up the "I Suck" posters. Simon Dean with Stone
Oh,
Cold was
yeah.
hilarious. A big shout out there by
Yeah.
Kevin. For me,
hmm
I have to go also with DX. Big Neff Network beat me to the punch. I really thought the WCW angle where they were invading was great. Specifically the build up when you had Triple H doing the whole lineup and saying, like
Oh, yeah.
a 10, hut. And then you had Road Dogg and Billy and anything DX related I thought was great. Aside from that, it it might not be a popular decision, but Mae Young giving birth to a hand, I
Oh, my goodness.
that one, whether you think it's funny or not, I think it's like so stupid it's funny. Mae Young giving
Yeah.
birth to a
That's
hand,
my kind of humor.
that's crazy, honestly. You know who I think is at this point in his career is getting so much love and rightfully so? R Truth is like one of the funniest guys ever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like whether it's
Little Jimmy.
unintentional, yeah, whether it's unintentional or not, dude, our truth is the king of of comedy
hmm
in terms of the WWE right now. I think our truth is one of the funniest guys they have.
To add on our truth, one of my matchups for Cena is to face our truth because that would be so funny because that's his childhood hero, even though he's older than Cena.
Dude, we got to get a tag match between him and Cena.
I know.
I know technically, we had one last year where they teamed up and the guy was invisible and it was supposed to be Cena, but I gotta see him and our truth interact in some fashion. Gabs in the chat says, "Sad childhood if he didn't have Blockbuster." Big facts.
Yeah.
We loved Blockbuster,
Big
dude.
Neff also says Goldust is hilarious too. Goldust, I loved his angles, especially with Booker T.
Yeah.
Goldust, Goldust was just hilarious. Uh, Again, uh, I feel like the wrestlers who had gimmicks in terms for like the comedy purposes, like huge shout out to them because they had to go over the edge and do stuff that they're probably not comfortable with.
Yeah.
Like they should get more appreciated because Goldust, there was a certain point in time where Goldust was acting um, more provocative,
Yeah.
and it was more questionable. I would say at the time
It
being.
was taboo. It was very taboo.
Yeah, yeah. Another one that I liked about a moment would be Booker T versus Stone Cold when they're in the grocery
Oh,
store. I thought that part
the
was funny.
supermarket brawl. That was great.
Yeah.
Kevin says Santino calling Cena John Cena. It's Santino's another one. Santino's another one
Yeah.
who was like always just hitting the mark in terms of comedy. Santino Marella as a babyface, as a heel. Don't be surprised if a guy like Santino and R Truth make it in the Hall of Fame. because those guys are awesome, dude. I want to make a quick shout out. Also, the vignettes involving Eddie and Chavo, the Guerreros.
Oh yeah.
Those vignettes, I love seeing Eddie and Chavo. Whether it was they were cheating at the game of golf, or the whole pool boy segment. Eddie and Chavo again, another set of just super funny guys, man. I love seeing Eddie and Chavo together.
Oh yeah.
Kevin said, or sorry, Big Nef Network references Goldust and Luna. That was crazy. The outfits were crazy. The amount of times we saw ball gags were crazy.
Oh man.
It was a different time. Gabs saying
Yeah.
our truth calling Triple H, Champa, funniest thing ever. Our truth is just money, dude. Booker T
Mhm.
hiding in the church. Oh yeah, the confessional. I don't know if you've seen that. Have you seen the confessional?
A few times. Or another one was a bingo,
Oh,
the
the
bingo hall.
bingo. The bingo was great. Yeah. Network says Santino should have won the Rumble. Imagine.
Dude,
Imagine.
honestly, I did not like Alberto Del Rio. I like, oh my goodness, Santino. I would have loved it if he would have won. But
But
looking back at it, Del Rio was like obviously the
yeah,
one going to win it
we
between
get
two.
it. We get why that. But okay, imagine
Yeah.
Santino wins. He's gonna either fight Edge or John Cena. Or no, it was the Miz. It was the Miz. It would have been the Miz or the Edge for the world titles. And instead, he was in an 8-man tag against the Core. If you remember that.
Oh, the core.
Remember the Core?
Actually, let's backtrack. Remember the Nexus?
Oh yeah, the Netflix had so much potential, dude. It had so much potential.
The Nexus, like, they had so much potential. Like, think about the people they had. Like, they had Daniel Bryan on there, and it's like, oh my gosh, man! Like, they had it. They literally had it.
Yeah. Big Neck Network says Santino was over like crazy. Absolutely. Network also says
Yeah.
the core equals a joke. It was bad. It was bad. Wade Barrett should have gotten the belt. Agreed.
Hmm.
What happened with Wade Barrett was terrible. He had all the talent. It was just cool. Like you would think he would have gotten a push, and he didn't. But I want to look at
Yeah.
Kevin's here. You see Kevin's when Vince McMahon
Which
called
one?
his latest one. Kevin says when Vince McMahon called out God in the middle of the ring and had an invisible light come out to heavenly music. Okay, first of all,
That's really controversial.
I do not condone Vince as the individual. Vince as the character though had some
Character.
had some of the craziest thing. The whole God
He literally
thing.
went into the church.
He went to a church, dude. That's crazy.
Like he literally went into the church and did the Triple H thing with the holy water. Like what? Like
Yeah, Vince was bugging. Network says, "Oh my God, what
yeah,
Vince? What else did Vince do? He did so much. Like, there's so much to the whole
yeah. The
the
documentary, dude. What they covered?
no, but I'm just talking about the character because obviously like
No, I know about the character. Because even the ideas he pitched as well, it's like, dude, like that's crazy. Like
you know which one I
why?
you know which one that is crazy to me was the Linda McMahon stuff. See, okay, look at yeah, dude,
Oh
Network commented in the
yeah,
chat the same time I
yeah.
said that Vince was cheating on Linda while she was in the wheelchair. That was crazy. But then
Like why would you?
the pop that she got when she rose from the wheelchair at WrestleMania 17 was
Yeah, yeah.
immaculate. But Vince was not shy, dude. He had no
He
shame.
was
This
crazy.
no shame. Oh, cuz it was a
At
gimmick.
the
It's
end,
only
it was
show.
all entertainment.
It's
Yeah.
bad, dude. He had a match against Stephanie. I quit match
Oh, and no, and it wasn't like a week before her wedding.
before her actual wedding. And like I remember
Yeah,
I think
because
in the
wasn't it
documentary,
because
go ahead.
oh no, because wasn't it because that he wanted it to put it on TV, like the actual wedding, like live, but
Yeah,
she was against it. She's like, no.
yeah, he wanted to
So
have
as
Triple H
a
as really leading, yeah.
yeah, so then as like a little bit of I want to say
Petty.
like a receipt.
It's like petty. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah, for
basically it's
being
like
petty.
yeah.
Yeah, for being petty, they did that match, and it's just like, dude, like I don't know, like hearing what Vince done, I really appreciate Shane McMahon Uh,
Yeah,
Shane McMahon, especially in the Attitude Era.
Shane doesn't get his flowers, you know. But first of all, big shout out to Network as well. Vince kidnapped his own daughter with the Ministry of Darkness. That was crazy. But
Oh yeah.
Shane, yeah, Shane, the the stunts that this man would pull. I mean, the first one that comes to mind is the Great Fall from SummerSlam 2000 against Steve Blackman. You know,
Lethal Weapon.
the Lethal Weapon. Shane took crazy bumps. Shane, dude, no fear. And not
Another one was the King of the Ring. It's Kurt Angle.
the King of the Ring spot against Angle. That's the thing though with Shane. I feel like Shane knew his limitations, and he wasn't gonna
Yeah,
have
same
a
thing for comedy.
yep. He wasn't gonna have a Matt Classic. So I think as a way to earn the respect of the boys and the fans, he was just down to put his body through that type of punishment. So Shane McMahon, big shout out to him for what he was able to do in his career. You know, as a member of the
Mm-hmm.
roster, former European champion, hardcore champion. Yeah, big ups to Shane McMahon there. The only one that never really comes out is Linda. Network
Yeah.
says Mean Street Posse. I remember the Mean Street Posse. Joey Abs and Pete Gas. I'm
Yeah.
forgetting the last guy now, but yeah, no, that's
So to fast forward to oh, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, so to fast forward to today's WWE,
Yeah,
since it is WrestleMania season, let's talk about the Hall of Fame. Who do you think is gonna who do you think should be in the Hall of Fame?
that's a good
I feel like
question.
John Cena is like more likely going to be in it, but besides the point, who should be in the Hall of Fame?
So that's a good point. I don't know if they put Cena in this year. They could put him in next year, but they have already set the precedent by putting in guys like Paul Heyman and Rey Mysterio while
Rey
they're still
Mysterio?
active. Yeah. So I could see them putting John Cena in. Will they do it? Don't know. Aside from him, I would like to see a guy like William Regal, who is back with the company. He's working behind the scenes. I think William Regal certainly earns that distinction to be in the Hall of Fame. Network says the
Hmm.
Hardys. The Hardys is a possibility. We have the partnership between TNA and WWE, so that's a possibility. Certainly,
Yeah. Another one would probably be Victoria
you beat me to it. Yeah,
because I feel like she's really underrated. And fire theme song by the way.
it never had a bad theme song. William Regal in
Uh,
WCW was vicious. Steve Regal, that's right. Victoria's a good shot as well. A former women's champion, one of the leading stars of the ruthless aggression era, which is definitely an era in wrestling that certainly is looked back upon fondly because of the work that people like Victoria, Lita, Trish, Molly
mhm.
Holly, you know, the in ring work, Gail Kim, Mickey James, that they were able to
Yeah.
put in. I mean, these are a lot of women out there who helped pave the way for the way the business has evolved now. And I think Victoria, I think you're right. What about someone from the past? I'm talking like the golden era, new generation era. There's always someone who is someone of the older generation that finds a way into the Hall of Fame.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to think a little bit harder on this one.
Yeah, because I feel like
Uh,
there's a lot to take away from. It's just a matter
yeah.
of who isn't in. Go ahead and comment in the chat there. Throw out some suggestions. Who you guys think would be solid candidates for this year's Hall of Fame? Usually, it seems like we're only getting 4 to 5 nominees or inductees into the Hall of Fame. I think John is a solid one. I think Victoria is good. William Regal, but there's always someone who's like
Okay.
an older legend there, and I'm trying to think who hasn't been in the Hall of Fame. You know who hasn't been in the Hall of Fame yet? Miss Elizabeth.
Who?
Miss
Oh
Elizabeth.
yeah.
Again, I don't know if they would put her in now or if they would include her because Victoria would be there. You know who? Okay, I don't think Lex Luger is in, is he?
I don't know. Actually, I do have a question.
Yeah,
Is Diamond Dallas Page in the Hall of Fame?
DDP is in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, I think he
What
came
year
in.
was he?
Man, I think it might have been 2018 or 2016. It was one of those.
Hmm.
But he is in the Hall of Fame, rightfully so. I think DDP is a fantastic story. I mean, here's a guy who really broke out into main event wrestling in like his late 30s. Like a lot of people
Yeah.
just gave up on him and he kept with it. And for him to become the star that he did, love DDP. He's one of my favorite WCW stars for sure.
I'm still trying to think who else should make it into the Hall of Fame because I feel like
There's some guys I
there's a
think,
lot.
but they're in AEW, so they're not going to be there. Like Christian, I think for sure. Chris Jericho for sure, but they're like over there in AEW, so they're not going to be in the Hall of
Is
Fame
JB on the
just
Hall
yet.
of Fame?
JBL,
Yeah.
yeah, 2021, 2021 Hall of
Hmm.
Fame.
What about guys like a Dean Malenko?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's in AEW too, but I think Dean Malenko for sure is a great pick as well. They might just start having to go through
What if?
guys who are still on the roster.
So I know this person's not a wrestler,
Yeah, hey,
but
but they could still be.
since they put celebrities in the Hall of Fame like a Drew Carey, I think Cyndi Lauper should be in that as well. Wouldn't you agree?
You're speaking my language. I love Cyndi Lauper, dude. Like whether it's Cyndi Lauper in wrestling or her music, I'm a fan. I don't care what people say. I'm a fan of Cyndi Lauper, and if they continue to do the celebrity wing in the Hall of Fame, Cyndi Lauper, they
Hmm.
literally had it. WrestleMania 40. 40, the round number. Cyndi Lauper was an instrumental part of the very first WrestleMania. They could still do it this year and play it off as like, oh, 40 years later, they could do that. But Cyndi Lauper, how is she not in the Hall of Fame as a celebrity inductee? That for me is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
Another
I agree
one.
with you.
Yeah, another one who should be in it. And I know they're not a wrestler, but I feel like Jim Johnston at least he should get some recognition.
Hey, shout out to Jim Johnston. Had some of the greatest entrance themes in pro wrestling history. Jim Johnston for
Yeah.
sure should be in consideration. And who cares if he wasn't on TV? Like, if you're a wrestling fan, odds are you heard of the name Jim Johnston. And if you haven't heard his name, you've certainly heard his work. We're talking about guys like The Undertaker, The Rock, Triple H. Some of the greatest theme songs of all time were composed by Jim Johnston. I love that pick. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, so I had like a huge like brain fart, I guess you would say. What about Batista?
Dude, that's an interesting one because Batista was announced for the 2021 Hall of Fame. And then he kind of backed out. So he's technically not in the Hall of Fame, even though he was going to be in the Hall of Fame. So
Yeah,
Batista,
because Batista was a big part of my childhood.
yeah. Kevin says Vader. I believe Vader got inducted in
I believe he
20
was
the same year as
inducted.
Undertaker,
Yeah, because they waited until he passed away, no?
which is ridiculous that they waited till he
I
passed
know.
away. Yeah, I'm just gonna do a quick check here. I'm pretty sure Vader's in the Hall of Fame, class
I'm
of
pretty sure as well.
2022.
Another one. So, okay, I don't know if this is controversial, but what about guys like Brian Pillman?
I just want to confirm. Yes, he was in the Hall of Fame 2022. Brian Pillman. Yeah, I would say so.
Because I know there's a certain guy he won't be in the Hall of Fame for obvious reason. But what about yeah? What about him?
No, Brian Pillman for sure. I can see them putting him in, and not only that, but because Lexus
Mhm.
King is with the company, he can induct him, and Brian
That's
Pillman for
why.
sure. Muhammad says he keeps on delaying it for some reason, and who will induct Batista? I'm thinking a guy like Triple H or Ric Flair. I think one of those guys
Mhm.
would be the ones to induct him. Their time in Evolution, taking him under his wing. I would think Triple H or Ric Flair. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. There was another one that I thought of right now, but I just lost it. I don't. It's gonna bother me because I literally had one. I literally had one.
Yeah, no. I mean, we could talk on and on about the Hall of
Yeah.
Fame, but we're gonna go ahead and start bringing this live stream to a close.
Mm-hmm.
It's been awesome having you on. First and foremost, I want to thank you for joining us on the live stream. I want to thank you, brother, for joining us here as well. Thank the members of the J area and the chat who again consistently show up and show out here on the live streams and continuing to allow the channel, allowing the J area to grow. You want to say anything to the people here before we call it a night?
Yeah. Actually, dude, don't thank me, but thank everyone, because I feel like you guys played a huge role on making me want to come here. Because I have thought about popping in every now and then, but I was a little bit shy. But since I was mostly in the chat and you guys were pretty much asking for me, I felt really welcome. And I thought, why not just pop in now? So, if anything, thank you guys. Actually, you guys are the reason why I wanted to be on here.
Yeah, I know, and it was an awesome chat that we had here with again. Big shout out to people like Kevin, Mohammed, Big Nef Network, Gabs.
Mm-hmm.
We also saw some appearances by Mama Ramos. We saw Sean in the chat. We also saw
Mm-hmm.
Hector. Lucha is life. Sam as well. Appreciate you all. Sylvia as well. Thank you guys for continuing to show up and show out for these live streams. You guys are the reason why we keep doing it and the reason why we continue to look forward to it. A big show of episode of Raw that we just watched. We have another episode of SmackDown in store. Just a quick little bit of housekeeping for the channel. Keep an eye out on Thursday night. We're going to be having another live stream about 9 o'clock. Keep an eye out for the link. We always try to upload those ahead of time so you guys can see when those live streams will take place. Friday, we have another list coming out, and it's Royal Rumble season. So a lot of these Friday 5 counts, the Friday listings, are going to have a Royal Rumble theme to them. We'll have another reaction on Saturday, and then join us on Sunday stream. We'll have another one of those coming around the same time, 9 o'clock. But again, subject to change. It's usually around the 9 to 10 o'clock p.m. spot, Mountain Standard Time. Right, real quick here before we call it a night, Gabs with a last second run in, a last second comment in the chat says, "You guys are great together. Cannot wait to have you again, San Fran." We appreciate that, Gabs. Thank you
Uh-huh.
so much. Um, it's been
Thanks.
it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. So we want to thank you guys again for joining us on tonight's live stream. We'll see you again. Thursday night is our next live stream, 9 o'clock p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Keep an eye out for other videos throughout the week. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so to keep up to date with all the pro wrestling content that we provide. And also consider becoming a member of the Main Event Mafia for exclusive content like videos, shorts, live streams, as well as a future say in the uploads for the channel. Anything last second you want to say?
Uh, ooh,
I
gonna
caught
throw
you
us
off.
on the spot.
I caught you off guard there,
Yeah,
huh?
you did. Well, I mean, I was drinking water, but
My fault.
very good. All in all, thank you guys for letting me be on here. Thank you to Jose, of course, and I will be back here soon, guys. So, up until then, hopefully, I'll give you guys a heads up ahead of time on when I'll be here. More likely for the Royal Rumble reaction stream. So yeah, until next time, guys. I'll see you.
Sounds like a plan. Again, thank you so much for appearing on the live stream. Thank you all for joining us today. Again, if you haven't already, I hope you all enjoy your night. Have a great week. We'll be seeing you again in the next live stream on Thursday. Everyone take care. Stay cool.